promoting is hard, right? And we all know this just in general. And a lot of people are photographers that start a photography page. And I feel like I say this every podcast, but like just be consistent. It's the hardest thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Because people are like, get the idea that they're photographers and totally are, but don't post. They like make a post, make an Instagram post, make an Instagram page and just like post for a month and then drop off.
Yeah.
And man, it just eats my soul that happens and they don't keep going. Part of like promoting silo events is knowing that I'm going to have to post like 7 times for even half my audience to even see that the post is happening.
Right.
Even if that main announcement post, which I try to like ride everything on, you know, that the one thing that people outside of Silo actually would post is that graphic that is either not catching enough, like eye catching enough, so no one sees it because it's a graphic on Instagram, or whatever. I ride a lot on shares on that. So like that first initial post is like all about like share with your friends that this is happening. And knowing then that I'm going to take that's going to be like a month before the event or something like that. And that I'll take a step back for like a week, let the shares kind of keep rolling, let the wave of that going. But then really kick it into high gear when like it's 2 weeks out from the event, knowing that I'm going to have to promote it like every other day for this 2 weeks out and then every day for like the week leading up to it. And that's something that I've learned or like have grown into as of just this year of like week of, I'm like, I have to post every day. And that's hard for me, at least, knowing that I have to provide value, but also just keep letting the call to action be come to this event.
Yeah.
And it's a really challenging thing to get out of my head, especially when I have to show my face I don't have to, but show my face for every one of those videos to get people to actually like care about it. And now I've seen results in that because now at these events, everyone's like, yeah, the videos. That's what, like, I just saw that like the week of, and I didn't see your announcement post. Like you said, I should have saw, but seeing the videos of you jumping in the middle of a field, being all wacky and weird, like that's what actually got me to see it. And I'm like, you're kidding. I posted this like a month ago. You should have known about this.
Yeah.
But those videos week of that I find annoying because I'm posting every day.
Yeah.
It's like such an interesting thing that's both like not intuitive, but also makes sense in the like social media landscape.
But you're also like in an interesting position too, because it is an in-person event.
Yeah.
So you're not really worried about views too much. You want people to show up. So like your audience is definitely more localized.
Yeah.
You know,
that's fair.
and it's kind of funny. Like the way we got connected was because of that.
Yeah.
It's like just people sharing that are in my circle that shared like probably, how long have we kind of known of each other? Was that maybe a year and a half, whatever? Yeah.
I would say 2 might be stretching it, but yeah.
But like when
probably
like,
connected like last summer.
Yeah. And when those captures started like popping off and stuff, I would get like those shares through people that I follow. And that's how I found you guys initially. And I think that's like the key thing is like you are creating things that your community cares about and wants to share.
Yeah.
And as long as you're doing that, like you could post maybe a little bit less because like every single time you post, you don't have just you sharing, you have you and thousands of other people who are sharing it. So I think like, when you're thinking about what to create, it's like, think about like what your community wants. And then also it's like the reason why you want to post as often as you can is because you even if you go to your followers, you can see like the accounts that you least interact with.
Right.
And
if you guys don't know about that,
so if
you should look.
So if you're the guy who only posts like once in a while, you're going to show up in like people's least interacted because there's other people that they follow that are posting more throughout the month or whatever. And so when you do have that song come out or you do have that event, you want people to show up, and now you finally have this beautiful photo or whatever that you're going to post, people won't see it because you've already been like knocked down in their feed. So
I think that's big with like music artists too, like not posting enough about their stuff or like they just post information, and information I feel like on Instagram does not do well.
Yeah.
Like artists that actually post like the reason why this album is coming out or like what made me want to write this song is actually way more interesting than you just singing the song.
Yeah. You got to provide value somehow.
Yeah.
And I think sharing, I love artists because there's just, you have this song, but there's just so many layers to how it came to be and how it was created. It's the same thing with everything, really. And so it's like, share that on your stories, put it in a private group, put it somewhere where you can build a community that will amplify your mission in some way. So
It's such a, Instagram is just the weirdest place sometimes. But to get back to Taylor Chip, at what point is it disingenuous to like post so often? Do you ever get to, I mean, I'm sure there are moments where you get to a point where I'm just creating this moment or this for social and it's less of a like a fly on the wall moment, if that makes sense. Well, at what point does like the fabrication of content, if you ever get there, become like disingenuous in your head? It doesn't have to be Taylor Chip, but in general.
what do you mean by like we're not, everything's real?
Yeah, but if if you had to bring two people together in a room that didn't interact normally, at what point does that not serve you guys correctly? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, well, 5% or less people see your content every day.
Yeah.
So if you're just, I think it doesn't really matter too much. And you're always going, as long as you are asking or filming questions that like you're curious about yourself and getting those answers from people, if it's content, or telling a story or whatever, it's like, as long as you're curious about it, there's other people that are going to be curious about it. So I don't think that we're ever forcing content for the sake of content. I think it's always natural. There's always there's some reason to it. You know? So there's a lot of value in, I guess, just being honest with your audience a little bit. And
I think you guys do a really good job about that.
And not like trying to manufacture anything.
Yeah.
You know?
And
there's if you post a lot, like the personal branders, will understand. It's like everyone thinks that they're like projecting or like they have some type of insecurity and that's why they're posting a lot. But it's like you have to stay relevant for people to like know that you are the option whenever they have a need to fill.
Right.
And so you have to post all the time.
Right. And that's what I'm getting at. I'm like, at what point does filming stuff in your daily life for content become not who you want to be,
I mean, if a musician creates a song and like everyone takes it the wrong way, like I feel like that's on the viewer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just you're gonna keep going regardless. Yeah. And it's funny because it's like you get a lot of haters. The more you post, the bigger you get, the more haters you just naturally get.
Right.
But it's crazy because like if someone's hating on the content that you post or like whatever, it's only because they interact with it so much.
Yeah.
So it's
that's fair.
Your haters are kind of your biggest fans. Like the algorithm's definitely not going to, like the algorithm wants you to stay on the platform. So it's not going to give you stuff that you have no interest in. So if you keep on getting my videos, you must be a closet fan or something.
Yeah, there's some level of passion in one direction or the other.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, I just don't take that. Me creating the content, I just try not to take that responsibility of like, oh, I hope I don't come off right or whatever, because I know in my heart, like I'm always just trying to explain what is happening. Yeah. And that's it.
You don't only do social stuff for them. You also like focus on strategy and other like facets of marketing.
Yeah.
What else do you do there?
I think, marketing is a funnel. You have the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and then at the bottom of the funnel. So we kind of, there's people who work alongside us, Doug, as well, doing like the ads and whatnot. But, I do the marketing for them, some traditional advertising. And then whenever we like launch new flavors or open new locations, I'm like part of that activation. And then, working with different influencers or UFC athletes or whatever, when those opportunities just pass them right come around, we did get our cookies to Patty the Batty, just saying.
Hey, yo,
which was pretty cool.
That's sick.
But it's always just like outreach, really.
Yeah.
It's just a big part of my job.
You also I think something that I found really cool was that when you guys were like reaching out to get your cookies in different stores too, you let your audience almost do the work for you,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Right. Well, yeah, that was just a little fun little thing. So like for the people who don't know, we're getting into wholesale. So we're selling our cookies, you know, at a grocery store or a cafe or whatever. And, you know, you have a sales team that could maybe go out and knock on doors and just, you know, cold call basically and try to get in. Or you could post a post saying, we're looking to get into wholesale. What are some of your favorite cafes that we should check out? And we'll pick one of them to give like a free box to. And then like 500 people commented their favorite coffee shops. And so now those coffee shops are getting DMs from you or DMs from other people. And so you're going to check out that post and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I was actually looking for a cookie. And then they reach out. And so, yeah, that's really like kind of launched our wholesale program, kind of just putting it in the hands of the community to tell us where we should go. And I think that's super valuable because now we're not just like running around with chickens with their heads cut off trying to find the right people. We're getting in front of those people from their customers and being able to start like a natural conversation like, hey, 50 people commented and said we should sell our cookies here. What do you think? And like, they're not going to turn that down. If the people want it, that's what the people get.
And that only brings more people into their stores, even if it is just for your cookies.
Yeah. And that's like, you know, it's not like an ulterior motive.
No,
you know, I'm just like trying to figure out what to post, you know, and,
but it works.
And
like, I think that was just
up,
so like such a cool way to engage with the community, but then also have them help you do, like, they know what they want, right? So like, hey, Copper Cup's just down the road from me. I would love to not have to drive to 20 minutes to get to your Taylor Ship location or whatever that is. I'd rather go here.
Yeah. And I think the moral of the story is like, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
You know, it's like wherever you are, whatever you're doing, there's someone around you or in your community, one or two people away that you could probably ask to help you through like whatever you're doing. And if you have a community, like if you have friends and family, or, you know, a community of people who support what you're doing, you might as well like ask them because they're following and engaging with you and supporting you because they like what you do and they only want to see you succeed. So you might as well just ask whenever you have questions. So, you know, if I'm talking to the sales guy or anyone on the team in maybe another department and they're like, hey, it would be great if we do this or have this, or I'm struggling with this. It's like, oh, well, is there a way that we can like loop our community into this? Is there someone that we can ask that we know, you know? And those are the questions that you should always ask yourself when you're making content.
It also builds community with even just builds the relationship deeper with the person that you're going to ask the question to.
Yeah.
It's like, cause you could just go above their head or around and ask anyone, but you're deciding, hey, you know, you might have something super valuable that we could work together on or talk about, even if it's just, hey, your friend does this, can you introduce me? Or whatever that looks like.
Well, it's also easy to come off as if like, you know what you're talking about a lot of the times too. You know, doing stuff for Silo. Like I'm sure there's areas where you could always use help.
Yeah.
But someone could be like, oh, this guy's like, he's a professional at video or interviews or whatever. It's like, but in the back of your head, you're like, I'm not the best. They're like, there's definitely something that I could improve on.
Yeah.
And some people are just scared to like ask their community for help because then it seems like it's almost like it feels like they're belittling themselves.